We're only 3 minutes late. This is fine. This is okay. Okay, now why is OBS wanting to... I don't want you here. Skedaddle, leave. Boom. Okay. Okay, now in theory. In theory, we should be here. Should be good. Should be good. Nobody panic. I'm not panicking. Hold on. Howdy, howdy. Welcome. First, almost. And now, Mr. Spider, how's it going? Leaf, it's going so good, dude. Oh my God, I'm so excited, bro. I am so pumped. So, all of today, I've been, first off, able to stream. I'm 3 minutes late because I literally nuked the entire computer software last stream. The fact that we were able to finish the last stream is actually a miracle. Like, I'm not even... It is actually a miracle because... oh my God, why are my frames... Why are the frames on the stream down? I hope that sorts itself out. It's all going... hopefully you can at least hear me. This is bad, but... I nuked the entire system, nuked it. Accidentally, I saw a file that had a bunch of space, and I said, ooh, I can free up some space if I delete that file. Little did I know that file is what made the computer run. And so all of yesterday was me setting it back up. Thankfully, it's now set back up. I had to reinstall OBS. I had to get literally everything reset like I was doing it the first time. Boxberry saying, uh-oh. I'm going to really hope you're not saying uh-oh because the stream died. It's hopefully not. Mercy. Yeah. So now we're here though. Okay, we made it. We made it. We're so back, and I'm pumped. No, you're good. Okay, thank you. I'm paranoid. In the last stream, the situation was so dire that someone said, "Oh no, the stream's bugging," and I'm like, "Oh my God, we're dying." And then he's like, "No, I'm trolling." That got me. That was a good troll. I can't even be mad. It was that good. Now I want to showcase something. Before we get into painting, I'm going to continue painting cloaks like how we've been doing, like how we did last stream. Because last stream I was given some advice, and I was taking some advice from It's Leaf 199, who's here with us now. And my God, I started to have so much fun painting and blending and doing whatever the heck I was doing. I think I was doing some wet blending, layering, and stippling. If I had to break it all down, I did a little bit of all that. And I'm now working on the next video, which it's been a bit of a hectic week. It's been a bit of a staycation with family over, but now they're gone. It was awesome. It was good. Now now I can't postpone the sort of the intimidating next project that I had on hand. And I've been working on it until literally just the start of the stream. It's still on the desk right now. I'm gonna have to clear it out. But let me show you what I'm working on so far. Okay, are you ready? Let's take a gander here. Also, all the sound effects are. Did you find the prime evil sister? Oh, someone. You think it's gone low key? Okay, people, we're finding primer. We're not finding primer. It's gone. Someone in your household was huffing it. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but you know, consider me an interventionalist. Anywho, boom. Now you might say, what's going on? You can barely see it. Yeah, I know you can barely see it. Stand by. I have to slowly move this guy without him falling and breaking. And then I'm going to take the camera out just to show you, because right now everything is extremely fragile, okay? That's possible. I don't like that it's that possible. Now look at what we have here. Now from an aerial, it is a stinky boy. It very much is. Now let me take this camera off and try to get a decent angle and not annihilate some cords here. This is going to be, so bear with the whole situation here. Hold on. Oh, you're clipped into place. You're unclipped from your place. I can move it down a bit. I can move it down just a little bit. It is, I think I had it next to my Norn, your painting lineup. Thought maybe one of the cats knocked it down. One of the cats was huffing paint. That's crazy. Okay. Here, here he is. Here is let me zoom that out, move the light down. Looks like a lightsaber on camera. That's actually funny as hell heck. Okay. Here's the situation. I'm going to turn the webcam off so you don't so I'm not blinding anyone, but there he is so far. Okay? Still early stages. I'm just building the base now. I have a bunch of corpses lined up. There are at least 6 bodies here. And there are soon to be more, but I've been doing a whole lot of stuff, and I want, one thing that Games Workshop does. Let me showcase this, and then I'll go on my spiel. Boxberry, I'm gonna. That's your freedom of speech, so I can't dog on it too hard. But anywho, here's Mortarion. He's sitting down there. I love his pose. His pose is actually awesome. The kit would have me, like, you can see his wings. One wing is higher than the other. The kit would have them a little more level. They'd be a little more level, but I actually really like this. This actually looks very similar to, I'm going to put the camera back up and reset it, but it's funny. I love this pose. Oh, hold on. I have a character who's in, or not a character. I have an infantry guy who I did in a similar pose. Look at that. Twinsies. How funny is that? That is not even intentional. This is just how, there's 2 ways the kit can be set up. This is one of them. This is how I set it up. But I love this pose. And I was wondering, I'm like, geez, what is it with me in that pose? And I figured it out. Let me get the camera set up. The camera set back up. Let me go to the webcam. Oh, sorry. Flashbang. I'm known for flashbangs. Let me go bring you up there. As I put this on, I can showcase what that pose reminds me of, or what I eventually figured out the pose was. Dang it, hold on. This has got to come off again because this has to go on over that. There we go. There's chords happening, so bear with it. Don't mind me. There we go. Now, that's back up there. This is a whole... My gosh, I feel like I could pilot the frickin' Enterprise from Star Trek The Next Generation with this. With the amount of movement tech I'm already employing on just my setup alone. Now that is back there. That's all clipped into place. They said clip that, and it was clipped. Imagine Jesus walks on water and he says, "Father, clip that." I'm going to shut the hell up. Let me put that back on there. Now, okay. Do I still have that pulled up? No, I don't. Let me pull everything. Where it's all... I'm moving and shaking on this part. Stand by. There it is. Bob Munden is on my search history. That's funny. Okay, we go here. This is what the pose is, dude. It is literally... It's literally the Battlefield 1 cover. Unironically. Open image in new tab. There you are. It's literally that. I mean, he's holding a gun out. Okay? He's shooting. He's like looking down at a cool angle. And he's holding a melee weapon in the other hand. And I'm like, oh, that's why I like it so much. Because Battlefield 1, the greatest first-person shooter game ever, non-negotiable, has something similar. This dude also just has an MP18 with... Battlefield 1 knocked it out of the park with their character design and stuff. It is some of the wackiest but greatest stuff ever, dude. Frickin' awesome. World War I was sci-fi. That's the craziest part about it. Anywho, so yeah, that's kind of what that's what this dude's based off of right here. Essentially, loosely. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I don't know when the Mortarion kit came out. Doesn't matter. It was based off Battlefield 1. If this is older than Battlefield 1, well, someone snuck into the dev team at EA and they did some tomfoolery. Battlefield 1 gets all the credit. Now, without further this guy, I'm going to slowly move him off for now. There's also more to be done because the trench here, the actual duck boards, very barren. Not a lot happening on the duck boards just yet. Let me move this guy down to hopefully get a little more light on. So I'm wondering I might be putting some more corpses on the duck boards here. The other thing is I also have everyone hold on, wait there. I also have like there's little Nurglings that come with Mortarion, you know? Like running around carrying just canisters of probably gas, you know, they're all demonic. This guy's carrying the star, right? And so the Chaos Star, it's a whole shebang happening. And there's another Nurgling on the sprue. The thing with me, and this is just me personally, okay? If I had to throw out an opinion, you know, Warhammer's traditionally a grimdark game. Grimdark universe. And when I think of Nurgle, I just think of horror. Absolute body horror, nothing sugarcoating that stuff. And you know, if I'm leaning into it, maybe a more cartoony part of the 40K universe, it would be orcs. Nurgle, I think, would be a little more just body horror focused sort of stuff. The Blood Angels are gore. I made my Nurgle gore, but I also think that's cool. But I just figured out what I might be doing on the base, literally just like that. That is crazy. But the Nurglings are a little too cartoony for me. That's my opinion. I mean, you got this guy running around smiling, and I'm like, this doesn't look horrific. It kind of just looks like a Teletubby, if I'm being dead honest. Honestly, you could probably, if you replace this star with the lollipop from the Pug and Lollipop meme, you could make this guy look super cheerful. It's hard to make Mortarion look super cheerful. Very easy to make the Nurglings look super cheerful. But everywhere you go, there you are. But how I might fill this trench... Hold on, I'm going to grab it. Sorry, you're getting me on... I'm in the midst of this, and I'm in a flow state. Don't mind me. Hold on. Let me grab the kit. One sec. There it is. Oh, there it is. It's glowing. Absolutely marvelous. Now, let's pull this sucker out. Let's zoom all the way out. We got the OG Combat Patrol for the Death Guard. I wish I had bought more of these because I've found ways to I made 3 extra Marines with just this Combat Patrol to have a grand total of 10 Plague Marines. Now, the only sprues I have left in here... I have one guy already cut off the sprue. Okay, perfect. Looky this. There's a Poxwalker. Doesn't have his head, but now I'm wondering, I'm like, ooh, okay, hold on. Do I take... Let me zoom in. It's all a little dark. Do I really not have any more light? I can try to raise the ISO a bit. Hopefully that doesn't... Yeah, we still got frames. Now let's see. Is it doable? Might it be worth it to actually put in a Poxwalker into the base to really just emphasize, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, here Santa Claus is coming to town, and it's not the Christ one. Let's try to maneuver some shenanigans in there, and I'm just gonna kind of hold him there. Ooh, okay. Hold on. I made him balance. That was crazy. Yesterday and today have been wild. Ooh, fair enough. Sorry, I'm looking around, doing all kinds of stuff. Ooh. Ooh. I'm thinking perhaps I might just have a Poxwalker there. I think I'm going to have a Poxwalker there. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with that. Which, kind of hard to see. Am I fully zoomed in? No, now I'm fully zoomed in. That kind of takes up some space there, but then the question is, do we want that space filled? Do we want to keep it open? Maybe we want to keep guys on the ground. Although this does kind of look like Mortarion. He's watching out for his zombie boys, because he's lifting his leg slightly above the Poxwalker. It's almost like he's like, hey, friendly fire will not be tolerated, because, you know, he is cool like that. He is cool like that. Anyways, I'm gonna think about that after the stream. Your Holland Marine exploded on your Instagram. Heck yeah, that's awesome as all heck. Nice. Love to hear that. Raven Hobbies, howdy, howdy. Welcome, welcome. Let me move all this stuff back and actually get to painting. We're going to paint some cloaks now, because the cloaks are fun to paint. That's exciting. But, yeah, also the hobby desk, all the building, the kit bashing, and the basing, that leaves us with this kind of mess. There's a lot of stuff off screen that you can't see, but, you know, it's, you know, it's bad. We're in the middle of a project, for sure. You can tell. It's easy to tell. Now, let me get this guy just out of the picture here. And you know what they say, slow and steady. Love the rapid zooming. Fair enough. Thank you, thank you. I use a, it's a Canon EOS R100. That is what I use. Very good. Very good for my needs. That's kind of the, sorry, slowly moving. Now stay there, and I'm going to hope I don't need anything from the 2 drawers that guy is obstructing. But yeah, it's a Canon EOS R100. Good stuff. Good stuff. Just if you're recording to a PC, you will need a capture card and a micro HDMI to HDMI cable, and then you need a USB-C to USB to go all that way. Okay, I should lower the ISO a little bit because the frame rate's down just a hair. Got to get some more. A lot better. Okay, let's pull out the boys out. Let's pull out the gang. He floated to the back. He really did. He really did, for real. Okay. Now, here's what we are working on. These are our practice pieces before Mortarion. This is kind of why I'm painting these guys and giving them all the care and attention they deserve, because these are just more Plague Marines. Also, Mortarion is huge, by the way. This dude, Mortarion's, he's big. It's going to be, I've never painted anything that big as far as, like, brush painting and stuff goes. Like, I've done tanks, okay? You can do tanks. I've done a Warlord Titan. Fair. Hold on. Warlord check. He's alive. He's well. But it's going to be, but I've never done anything that big, I don't think. If I take a gander, this is why I conveniently have display cases, although all they do is they just act as a mirror. I'll have to get clear ones at some point. I like how the only visible thing is Master Chief. But let's see. Yeah, I have not painted anything remotely close to the size of Mortarion while still being a character. I've done tanks. Tanks are simple. Mort is a huge lad. Very excited to see what you do with him. Me too, because half of it is going to be very improvised. Although, one thing that is... yeah, I can pull him off. I can pull him off slowly. I just gotta... It's the base I gotta worry about. There we go. Okay, awesome. Look at the... I think... Also, he is... I love how they did... He's awesome. But look at the size of him, okay? This is about the size of an actual bird. Not a woodpecker. This is the size of an actual fruit bat. Clip that? Oh, shit. Did I say love the size of them? Is that what I did? Well, to each their own, I guess. There we go. Now I can actually show them. I think the 1 million subscriber special will be... I'll see if his wings actually allow him to fly, and I'll throw him off a building. Just kidding. But, I mean, look at... There's so much stuff happening with him. I can pull him off. I can pull him off slowly. Well, everywhere you go, there you are. But I mean, here's a stock. Here's a standard. Here's what I have the most experience painting. It's literally in my hand. Okay, I've painted over 300 of dudes like this. An infantryman. There's an average human in the Warhammer 40k universe. Okay. There's Mortarion, dude. Oh, no. Yeah. So, I mean, he is... What's crazy is to see the size comparison here. I don't know if anyone has seen the Imperial Saint on Instagram, but she's 3D printed like a life-size Horus. So it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts to see that her scale was pretty dang good. Because, I mean, I'm looking at an average guy here running... They're doing the same pose, by the way. They're twins. Except, you know, they're trying to kill each other on the battlefield. Also, yeah, one thing I'd say it would be probably about the size of an Egyptian fruit bat, maybe. I don't know, LOL. Fair. I would concur. I think a fruit bat is a very good idea there. But the thing is, the base Mortarion would be sick. Not gonna lie. All the little bits and stuff are very cool. But if I just wanted to see him as far as scale goes, like that, there's his size. Like between my fingers. That's the tip of his foot to the tip of his crown. Okay, that's just the size of his body, excluding all the other crazy bits here. But the other crazy bits, they have a vibe too. It's going to be cool. I also think it's going to be very, very good how I plan to paint him. I think it'll work out. Also, there's a bit of you know, kind of a fun fact for anyone. Let me do our hyper zoom, and we just look at Mortarion there. All up, you know, this is an MTV Cribs up close and personal with Mortarion. Look at his face. Both of his eyes are open. There is a faceplate where one eye is closed so he can aim down this gun, which I didn't do. And I'm going to talk about this in the video because it's just part of my absurd gun range tism. But I would imagine there was a man born in 1942 by the name of Bob Munden. Okay, now Bob Munden was known as the fastest gun in the world. He was the fastest shooter in the world. Okay, he was good at he did quick draws. He would come up and spot shoot. He didn't need sights for what he was doing. He would do all these crazy trick shots and do absolutely crazy stuff. It's very wild to see him like quick draw in like under 0.3 seconds and he gets it off. But I watched a video on him because I was like all into revolvers and I'm like, how'd he do it? And he's like, as shooters, we don't need sights. You just need to learn to spot shoot and be comfortable with that. Now he got to the point, he just shoots like this and hits his target every time. He doesn't need sights, okay? So I would argue, this is the gun-tism firing on all cylinders. Pun intended. On all cylinders. That's what, you know, because anywho. But I would think if someone like Mortarion had been shooting this pistol for upwards of 10,000 years, constant war these guys are at, by the way, I would almost be so inclined as to think he would have, you know, discovered and figured out spot shooting and would be able to not and wouldn't need to close one eye to aim, being that he's a super soldier, like enhanced to the nines by a chaos god. They don't feel pain. I want to say that's it's the Death Guard who don't feel pain. So this dude's not distracted by anything when he goes to aim. I'm going to shut up now and get to painting, but there's my little bit of there's my rant about shooting right there. I'll shut up now. I will say I started to get good at spot shooting. I can do like 7 yards and not need to worry about sights, and I nailed like my controlled pairs. Like I said, I'll shut up and get back to the painting. Here's what we're painting. These guys. These are, oh my gosh, what are these? Blightlord Terminators, I think they are. Here they are. In all their glory. They're not completed yet. They're, you know, there's an ugly stage. When I paint my Plague Marines, there is an ugly stage, and I think we are here at the ugly stage right now. But these guys are going to be great practice because a lot of details here, there's just a ton more on Mortarion himself. Like, you know, like cloaks. We discovered how to paint cloaks last stream. Look at this, dude. Okay, this was a suggestion from It's Leaf 199 here, or Leaf Paints Minis on Instagram. And, you know, he came up with a suggestion. I took that and ran, and I was just doing a whole bunch of shenanigans while he gave me more pointers in the chat, and we were left with this. Okay, I actually have decent highlights for the first time ever. I've never done this before. Are they good? Debatable. But are they decent? I would argue yes. But I'm thinking I'm going to paint the cloak on Mortarion similar to this. Because when we look at him, when we look at our boy Mortarion, there's a lot happening here. And it's kind of easy to lose track of his body to the cloak, even though his body is literally all right there. So I think because I'm going to be painting him in the white armor color, I think having a dark cloak like this is going to contrast very nicely, and especially once we weather and grime up the white armor, Ooh, I think it's going to be good. I have high hopes for what it's going to be, but yeah, so he's almost built up. Now I'm just working on the base, and once the base is done, I'm going to start painting him. But yeah, this is going to be quite an ordeal. I also left the sprue gates on the wings. I plan to paint those separately and hold them, except one of the sprue gates is about to fall off, so I might just end up gluing them all together and say, screw it, we ball, and then just pay the price later in the painting process. Who knows? Who knows? Either way, we should practice painting. And I think I'm going to take down my wet palette. Also, yeah, lots of wood here. I do custom trench bases, and they start off this thick. So I have to cut off pieces this size of an actual popsicle stick, and then I take a razor and I have to slice down the middle to get that thin sort of plank vibe. And I got to do that sometimes hundreds of times. But it's very worth it in the end. Very worth it if I do say so myself. Alrighty then. Let's see. Is that still wet? A little bit. So we'll roll with it, if you would. Let me grab our water. You know, our Traeger Sweet with Heat barbecue sauce container for water. This fun fact: bottles like this very useful for holding your water. At least in my experience, I've used this for the better part of years. Also, stuff works great for golf tees. If we have any golfers here, what I did was I open up the cap, I cut off the tip here, and then I take like a 1/2-inch drill bit, or yeah, no, is it 1/2-inch? It's either 1/2-inch or yeah, it's 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2-inch drill bit, drill a fine hole in there, and then I take the cap off, and I put a bunch of golf tees or like the thick part, the wide part, the head of the golf tee facing down, and if it's a long tee, they won't flip around. So then all you got to do is you whip open the cap like that, and then you just flip the bottle over, and you'll get the tip of a golf tee that you then just pull out, and it works every time flawlessly because of how the bottle actually works out. But yeah, this is a Warhammer painting stream, so I'll do that now. Let's see. Is some of this paint still good as far as moisture-wise? Let's see. Oh my goodness, it actually kind of is. Wow, that's impressive. I'll just re-moisten that up to get a little thinner, and then I'll just frickin' roll with that. See what we can't get done, eh? Who won? Okay, well, all right. I'm gonna... Oh, it's when I talk or make noise. I don't know. iPhones piss me off sometimes. Yeah, see, there it goes. You speak, I speak, and then it shows me the clock, and it's like, dude, I'm 19. I can't read that, dude. I'm illiterate when it comes to that. So I don't know that it's like 2:30 roughly. It's crazy, dude. But they say, here, take that. You've inputted your age 50,000 times on this device. So we're going to give you this clock to just, you know, flex how stupid you are. Fair. You know what? Fair. Now let's zoom in a hair more. There we go. Everyone look very closely. I might have to get a new lens for this guy at some point just to zoom in even more. I'm not going to crash out over a setting on a phone that if I just took 2 seconds, I could Google how to delete and then just delete it permanently. You know, I'm bigger than that. Also, I had a close call with a razor while I was cutting the wood. Didn't realize this until after I was done building the base. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that cut mark that goes well past the whites of the nail. So, no blood. We got out scot-free, and I'm gonna thank God for that, because that was you know, that was close, as one might say. Okay, now there's no more fun kerfuffles as far as this cloak goes. Now I actually gotta be fine with the outsides of it as we begin to tidy it up. But oh my gosh, love it. I love it so much. It is so dope as all heck. Absolutely incredible. And any more part of cloak here? Yeah, because I almost just went, see this kind of dumb looking yellow right here? This silly looking thing? I almost went with that. Because that was what Leaf suggested. He's like, wait, do a diarrhea like brown color. And I'm like, good idea. So I try that, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, it looks okay. But I mean, we can do highlights and stuff. So we did that. And yeah, so there's tons of, so we were gaming. We reached flow state. We reached the peak of painting for a second there. Flow state in the autistic department is an incredible sight to behold and an incredible feeling, if I may be so bold. Geez, I'm a bit of a Shakespeare today. Don't mind me. That's what they call me. They call me Sherlock Shakespeare Spiner for a reason now. Don't fact check if I've ever been called that. Trust me. Now, we just gotta continue the base coding, okay? Simple as that. I'm also excited to do the chainmail. There's a ton of chainmail on Mortarion as well, and it's gonna be fun because I have a lot of ideas to play with textures and stuff all over that chainmail because I have some fun ways to go about all of that. Also, got to somehow reach in there and get all of that brown as well. Got to reach in the back there and get all of this brown as well, which that kind of worked ish. We'll see what. Oh my gosh, we also have to get back here as well. There's stuff to do. There's stuff to do, but I'm not gonna highlight any of that. So all we got to do is just get in and then get out and call it a day on that front. And not ruin our decent highlighting there. This is quite this is quite the nook and cranny to frickin' reach in, man. This is rather tedious would be the professional way of putting that whole bit of business. Already got brown on the armor. Well, fair enough. I guess I'm gonna take this brush. Which brush? Time to get a cleaner brush. A brush that I just use for screw-ups like this. I slightly dampen it, and then I just wipe it all away. Just like that. I got this. Thank you, dude. We got the power of paint and anime on our side. And that's decent. The other thing is, these guys are good. The white armor is going to be grim darked with a bunch of brown paint anyway, so, I don't have to fret too much. But I'm still going to. And all the cleanup, I'll do... That was just a big drop, that's why I cleaned that up. Generally, I'll leave the cleanup till the very end, because we're dealing with a lot of different colors and other shenanigans happening. So go on there. Wipe that off. Dude, Leaf, I love how this turned out. You kind of cooked, dude. You kind of cooked, not gonna lie. You're currently turning an M4A3 tank into a 40k Krieg proxy. Oh, sick. Sick. I want to see that. That's actually. Looking at villainy inks. They're not actually inks, enamel washes. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, right now I use AK Interactive Streaking Grime. That's for my my Plague Marines. And also just because it works great when I was painting World War II German vehicles for the bottom shelf army. Those who know. One thing I was considering, Mr. Cobalt Commando, one day was taking a Whippet tank, a World War I Whippet, and turning that into a Astra Militarum tank somehow. I think it's possible to do some converting with the... mainly just utilizing the main chassis of the Whippet tank. W Army. Why do you think I bought it? But... yeah, it might be... Oh, my Whippet's not here. It's not in the workshop. I should bring it in the workshop at some point so I can show it off. Because that was my first scale model tank. And it was fun. I just couldn't play with it afterwards. Not that I have played 40k in forever. I need to get back into it with the new edition. And I'm going to. But if I paint... I need the ability to play with whatever I paint. Because otherwise it just sits there. And I'm like, wow, I did that, so it just sits there. But if I at least have a conscious thought, like, I can play with this, because I'm 5 years old at heart, then I can rest easy at night. And so, the painting takes effort, dude. That's why Mortarion scared me. Except now he doesn't scare me because we're kind of cooking with our Plague Marines recently. And it's gonna be dope, I think. Now the paint's drying out a little bit. Also, you know, they say plastic crack, right? You open up a box, you rip the slutty plastic off of the brand new GW box. That was a reel. I stole someone's content for that line. And then you open it up and you get the new plastic smell. Ooh, new plastic smell. Wow. Fun, right? No. No, you know what you do? You know what you do? Let's see. Do I have my... Don't want to show off my credit card. That was crazy. Let me take a... Do I have a normal playing card? Yes, I do! Let's frickin' go, dude. Shout out to... shout out to my grandma who gave me her spare card when we busted out a new bicycle deck to play, like, gin rummy or whatever it was. But now... See, I do lines. This is my kind of plastic crack. All shavings from Mortarion. A couple wood sprinkles in there just to impurify it. But there we go. We got an actual... We have an actual line of plastic, an actual pile. I actually love... Jokes aside, snorting aside, I actually love using this because this makes great... it just makes great basing material. Like, I've glued this onto a base. Hold on, let me see if I have that test base. Stand by, I'm going on my rant. We have to grin and bear it. It's not here, is it? Yeah, I don't have him, dude. Oh! That's crazy. Oh, no, I have him. Hold on, he's inside my... What the heck kind of spare bits do I have in here? Oh, I have a flamer. Oh! Okay, sick. What else do I have in here? Oh, yeah, I have the general... Okay, sorry, I'm back. Here it is. Here's the base with some of that plastic stuff. Now, this was just a quick paint job, but... And I just put a random character on there. I keep forgetting I have him. I need to, like, turn him into something useful for the army. But, like, glue all that together and then dry brush it. It just looks like scrap metal. So it might look good for just, like, a scrap heap. Someone's on it, you know? Not too shabby. Very usable. So I save all the plastic shavings because I never know when I'm going to do a scrapyard base. You know? Everywhere you go, there you are, as they say. Well, now let me... Dude, the bicycle cards still have the original Facebook and YouTube logo? That is crazy, dude. Brand new card, by the way. Brand new. They've just been printing the same thing for generations now. Literally generations. Because YouTube hasn't been this in generations. That's crazy. / bicycle cards. Nuts. I am marveling at a playing card. I don't even know what that is. MySpace? A cow? A backwards F? A cursive U? Oh, no, it's Purple Guy from FNAF when he dismantles all the animatronics. There's a FNAF reference. Where am I? Ah, yes. Painting. Let's see how this guy's turning out as far as all the base coating goes. There's still stuff to do. There's still stuff hiding back there. I'm gonna get a brush that I don't care about absolutely ruining for the sake... Hold on. I had a thought. I had a thought process. Give me a second. I take our color, German black brown. That is the color I use for the base coats, right? I hope so. I certainly hope so. Put that on there. Wonderful. Wunderbar. Now. Let's see. Do I have a brush that would be decent enough for this application? Do I give this brush a try? No, I won't give that brush a try. I'll give this brush a try. Here we go. This is a bit of a bigger brush. Bit of a bigger one than what we're traditionally used to, but I think, yeah, we'll be able to fit that in there, and hopefully it'll carry enough paint to actually do some damage. Let's give it a whirl, dude. Because I'm also not too worried about, you know, the paint being too thick here, because I'm not going to layer the inside of this because I'm not insane. I think that's fair. But, you know, to each their own. I suppose. Oh, yeah, that's working. That's working good. We're gaming. Boom. Perfect. Good enough. There's a little more we can do there real quick. So let's get that done. Perfect. Awesome. Now that's all base coated and we don't have to worry about that. We'll have to do some more highlights somewhere else. And I think while I have this brush out, I'll try to see what I can't get done under here. Wow. Okay, now this guy's holding... He's got a tentacle arm that's holding on to a compact bong, it appears to be. In the grim darkness of the far future, there are only zooted moments for real, for real. And now I can try to get behind this guy semi-decently. Ish. Might have to take a finer brush for some of these tighter spots here. Won't be too nuts to do. I think that it'll be doable. Jeez, they're going to make me have to do this. I'm going to have to do the same thing here. Well, we got a little dumb, but now I can kind of base coat the majority of the thing and spread all the paint around nice and evenly. Getting absolutely everywhere, and then I'll come back in with a normal brush to kind of fix all of it in place. I'm really just adding bits to the tank, not a proper kit bash. But hey, that is a $10 tank. Dude, a $10 tank is a $10 tank. And, you know, when you accumulate enough bits to, you know, transform it, I mean, it's close enough to a kit bash in my eyes. To warrant the credit, I would argue. Let's see. Because at least for me, and this is just me personally, half of what makes a 40K tank interesting is the stowage on top of it. That's what tells the story, is the stowage. So you just put a bunch of random bits and some stowage onto any tank. If it's 40K related, I think it would blend pretty decently into 40K itself. In my opinion. Ooh. I was about to shout out something because I don't know about something, but I'll shut up. I was working on a Patreon account because GW has gotten a new AI company to source out scammers and scummy people for reselling their copyrighted material, like me, who 3D printed a tank and just made who 3D printed a Warlord Titan and made videos of the process, and that was it. You know, scummy people like me. And so they nuked me on Instagram for it. Womp womp. Everywhere you go, there you are. GG no re. They got me there. You know, and then I appealed, and they're like, hey, what's the name of your store, and where were you selling this? And I'm like, great question. Don't have a store. Wasn't selling this. And then a guy named Hashim contacted me. Not that I would racially profile anyone, but screw Hashim and the horse he rode in on. And so I'm just, you know, I'm like, yeah. He became enemy numero uno for that one. For real. For real. But, so now, and I don't know about the YouTube. YouTube should be fine. Should be. If not, but I made a Patreon either way, that way in case YouTube and so as I move throughout my career, through my journey through this entire operation, I'm now going to hype up the Patreon rather than memberships because, you know, just if they're copyright bots strike me out of nowhere for doing, you know, nothing, as I have, you know, done so well in the past, then we'll have a Patreon to kind of pivot onto. So that's a little update there. That's some other stuff I've been working on in the background there. Let's see now. That guy looks decent enough. We'll leave him there. But yeah. Now let's see. How's this guy gonna paint up? Oh, this guy's cloak is much more exposed. Cool. We just got to avoid his scythe. I also do like the scythes that the Death Guard carry. I think that it's a bit of a vibe, if I'm being honest. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I would almost think that it would almost be more of a although I haven't seen enough Khorne Berserkers to see if they have scythes or not. I haven't seen enough Blood for the Blood God to see if they utilize scythes, but I would almost think, just with my lack of knowledge on that faction, I would almost think that they would have the scythes, because blood and stuff. But that's kind of why, that's why I bloody the Death Guard up so much. I feel like what the Death Guard would do is a combination of hacking through waves of infantry, and then I would almost feel like Nurgle would come up, and then he would like reanimate them with little demons and create the Poxwalkers, rather than like a classic zombie apocalypse. They go to eat your brain out, they eat your brain, and then you become one of them. That's my headcanon. I haven't seen The Walking Dead, so really I speak from a place of ignorance on the entire operation. But that's my thought. That's my headcanon for the whole thing, for what it's worth. Let's see. Now the back of that guy is looking good. Who is yapping? Here is why you left work early. Hold on, let me pull this up in the Discord real quick. Because it just looked like a random photo of a blue sky or a blue something. Or an off blue something. Let me take a look real quick. I got the notification on my phone. The phone which thinks it's like on a sleep timer and becomes the clock. I'm not gonna rant. Positive. I'm actually stoked I was able to stream. I had to reset up my stream key and stuff. There's a whole thing you got to do on YouTube. That's why I was 3 minutes late, because I forgot. When you nuke your computer, you got to do a lot of stuff that you only had to do once before on when you first set something up. Except we got to first set something up for the second time. Does that make sense? I hope so. That's why I was 3 minutes late. Now hold on. Why? Let me take a quick gander route. Whoa, that is a, I'm going to crop out that, wow. You work where there's truck, oh, sick. Yeah, big ol' something. Big ol' storm or something heading someone's way, so that is ominous. Golly. Let me finish cleaning this guy off right here. Oh, also, that might be the biggest troll, if I were to... I left a piece off of Mortarion. Okay? There's a specific piece that goes on one of his shoulders that I did not include. Okay, let me show you where it is. Just because, I've been building them all day, so I want to yap about them. Okay? That's pretty smooth. Usually there's like a Nurgle crest or some design there, but that's smooth. I'm almost debating putting a decal there. Possibly. We'll see, though. We'll see. Or just have it smooth, just to be different. Oh yeah, you work right on Lake Michigan? Dang. I thought that was the ocean. I thought that was the... Wow. That's crazy. Michigan, the origins of Michigan Rummy. Another card game me and my grandparents love way too much. Combines poker and rummy. So it combines the young thrill of gambling. Smooth surfaces allow for nice color blends. Ah, fair. Fair enough. Maybe I tried actually doing some hand-done highlights on the shoulder pad. Who knows? Perhaps. We'll see. We'll see how... it's easy to speculate, but once we prime him, once I finish priming him, I'm gonna say, "Oh God," to myself is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, "What did I do here? Please don't drop him. Oh my God, I almost dropped him 3 times right there." You love Lake Michigan, no shark. Is that the case? Are there really no sharks there? I've never been even close to Michigan, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Closest I've been was Nashville, Tennessee, during my country song debut. I wrote, I wrote Sherlock Schlock. It was a big hit in 2011. I was 4 years old. Now let's finish base coating these guys. You got sharks and gators where you are? That's spooky. I have stuff. Where are you in Florida? I lived in Pensacola for a while. I thought Pensacola is what they drank in Fallout. Nope, that was Nuka-Cola. I am not cultured. Here's this guy. Now I can go back to a traditional brush. Let me grab the paint again. There's rattlesnake. Yeah, I had a... Wait, I think I told... Oh, yeah, I notified the Discord of a rattlesnake that we encountered a little bit ago. I'm gonna need to get some snake shot just so I can shoot it. Unfortunately, you have rattlesnakes. Ha ha. Hey, I will. I will. I'll drop ship one to Lake Michigan, dude. I tech. It's a Texas 50 all country. That was Louisiana down to Bayou, like 2 hours from the border of Mexico. Dang. Dang, dang, dang. I've been to Texas once, twice, 3 times. Once when I was like 5 during the Great Migration. Stayed in Texas for 2 nights. I remember it very vaguely because, again, I was like 4. I get younger every time I mention the story. But we stayed on a ranch, and the horses we were traveling with, carrying cross country, were running free all night. And it was so awesome for them, and it was very cool. Then we stayed in there another night. I forget exactly where. And then the third time, or the second time. Yeah, the third time I've ever been to Texas was 2 years ago, because that was a layover. Was in Texas. Was it in Texas or was it in Colorado? I think it was in Texas. I think. But that's how many times I've been to Texas. To think, 3 times in Texas, never gone to a Kill Tony show. That's crazy. Crazy work. Now let's finish up some of these details here. Now, what in the... what? Sorry, I saw my monitor in the background, and I had Discord up, and so I was blocking these pants. And note to self, the pants, when you crop out half this guy, look exactly like the pants I usually wear, which was kind of funny. Anywho. Texas best state, changed my mind. I won't argue. I won't argue there. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one for sure. But you know what the real best state is? You know what the state that everybody universally agrees is the greatest state in the whole union? Do you want to know the very uncontroversial, just, cut and dry state that everyone knows and everyone loves completely? You want to know? Do I say it? Do I even dare? Because it's just such common knowledge. It's such common knowledge, dude. But everyone loves, nobody holds an ounce of resent. Indiana? I read that as India, so no. Palmetto Armory. I believe it's Palmetto State Armory. That's my guntism coming back. No, it's California. That everybody universally agrees is the greatest state ever. No controversial discussions there. Right? Everyone agree? I'm sure no one is going to disagree with that statement. I'm sure it's just such a blatantly obvious truth that there will be no one to disagree with that. You know what I mean? They got avocados. California is beautiful, but the people are yucky. We have vomit emojis. Everyone's immediate thought is yucky. So far, I'm gonna hope you're just talking is great until you factor in the traffic. That is the craziest real statement ever, dude. Everyone. So okay, so it might be a little more of a debate than I originally intended. I thought it was such a clear cut and dry thing for sure, but I suppose not. I suppose not. The people are yucky. They are just dude. I can confirm they are disgusting, dude. They are a different breed. Different breed, dude. Trust me, I'm one of them. Now that brown is done there, and we have brown up here. There we go. Now we can continue on in some brown fashion over here. Just get it all good and goated for real, for real. Actually, wait. Can't dog on everyone at California. The Mexicans are a different level of cool. Can't even deny it. When I was doing construction in good old California, I had my pride instantly crushed when I'm sweating my nuts off in this same shirt. This same shirt. And I walk outside and I see people working on a roof, and they happen to be Mexican. And you know what these Mexicans are wearing? Hoodies and sweatpants. And they're not sweating. You don't see glistening sweat off their face, and they're working on in freaking like 79-degree California weather, dude. And like nothing. I left the job site early, and I swear to God they were all snickering at me for leaving the job site early. But in my defense, I had a YouTube channel or I had an Instagram account to stream on. They don't know my... But, you know, they're cool. They're cool. Can't dog on everyone there. I gotta be fair. Gotta be objective in my criticisms. But you know, a fun place, although except it might not be good if you stream and need need Wi-Fi. But I was thinking of a place that's cold year round and there's hurricanes like every year, and it's like your life is on the line every time. That sounds exciting. Somewhere in like Appalachia. Don't know where Appalachia is. It's somewhere in the United States, I believe. But you know, to each their own. Now that's all freaking browned up after years. My goodness. We have the arduous task of just base coating brown and then base coating brown again. And just, you know, idling in small talk. It's riveting stuff. Truly riveting. Now there's that. We got to do a tube there. Ooh. Okay, well, you know, it's a tube. We'll have to touch that up at some point because my tubes I usually base coat white or keep them deck tan. Because I really like to do flesh tubes. You can't see it, but he landed. He actually landed, dude. That's crazy. He didn't land that time. My God. No wonder this dude's scythe is broken off at least 17 times, bro. Let me grab all this real quick. There we go. Good as gold. And then I guess I'll hit these sides as well. Now, I don't know if these are armor pieces, if those are actual cloth. What did I do for... Whoa. Okay, so we have one of these, like, jet engines here is part of the armor. One of these jet engines are now, that's a fleshy thingy moving. So that's kind of crazy. Fair enough, I suppose. Now, hold on. Did Typhus have anything akin to that? No. Oh, he did. And I painted that in the cloth. Okay, so I'll paint all this stuff in the cloth as well, and then I'll just go over with metallics for the chainmail later. That's the grand strategy we got going on here. The absolute pinnacle of painting, you could say. Nice. Very nice. Now let's get the other side right quick. Oh, wow, this actually goes up a fair bit. Interesting spot to put cloth, if this is cloth. I don't think I still have the original box these guys came in. I'm usually an absolute hoarder when it comes to keeping the boxes of kits. But these guys I've had these guys before I had the workshop, dude. I think this was before Instagram, so this was years ago. Years ago. This is kind of weird that I'm so early in my career, yet there's stuff that has happened years ago that I reference. It is a little on the crazy side. It's a little interesting. Makes no sense, but you know, we're here. Oh gosh, I gotta watch out for that too. There's a lot of... Mortarion is going to be such a beast with all of his little details, dude. My goodness, it's going to be an adventure. It is going to be an adventure for sure. But I'm excited. I'm excited to paint him. The thing about large models like that is it's a big, intimidating model, but it's also just one model. You know? Like, I feel better about painting Mortarion than I feel about painting 10 Cavalry. Because Cavalry, there's a couple steps when painting my Cavalry for my Astra Militarum where I just go like, oh my gosh, I'm dreading this, and so I procrastinate. And it's mostly when I go to paint the leather, because there's a lot of leather on the cavalry. Let me just show you, because I have one here, because it was going to be my first video, and so I was doing some reshoots, because I lost footage for something, but then I eventually found it. But a lot of leather here. A lot of leather, and then a lot of fine, there's just some fine stuff going on. And this guy's just kind of hodgepodge together. He doesn't have his full shebang going on, and his rider isn't even on. But like when I go for these guys, it's intimidating because I got to do armor, got to chip all that, got to do gas masks and leather, and I have to do that 5 times. And the thing is, the leather doesn't even take me that long because I did it all in one go until like midnight one time. I got started late, and so I was just painting late just to get them all done. Literally just took me an hour and a half to do all the leather completely. 1.5 to 2 hours. That was it. Except it's so tedious that it was like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. With Mortarion, though, and with big models like this, it's just one guy. So I do feel better about that. Horses are cool, but that looks like a tough painting session. Yeah, they're a bit of... They're just an interesting spot. Once you start... Getting started is always the most intimidating part. For real, once you start, you'll be good. Again, for real. If you want tips for painting him, I'm always around. I appreciate you, Leaf. You are awesome. I might very well take you up on that offer. But yeah, painting the horses was... because they're in a spot for me. Generally, when I paint, I'm painting just to have something that looks decent enough for gaming, rather than painting for something that looks good. Although lately, with some of the stuff we've been doing, I've been trying to paint for stuff that looks good. And it's kind of fulfilling, if I'm being dead honest. But good enough comes in different forms for different units and different sizes of models. For infantry, I'm just getting them done. It takes me 22 minutes to do my standard infantrymen. And then I go about my day nice and happy. Tanks, I spend a good amount of time on my tanks because, they're big. Everyone's going to see the tanks for sure. And so I spend a good amount of time there. But they're also armor models, which very simple to do because I don't do a lot of brush work. It's a lot of airbrushing and then a lot of sponge work and just building up textures until you have something that looks interesting. But with medium-sized models, like the cavalry and like these guys, they hit an interesting spot. They're too big. The thing is, they're too big to just do a quick and dirty... Yeah, fair enough, Leaf. The thing is, they're too big to just do quickly like an infantry, okay? And they're not... They're medium. Medium's interesting. Medium models are a bit of a challenge for me to do because I have to put the same amount of effort as I would into a big model just on a small model, if that makes any lick of sense. Because, when I go to... Because those guys are going to be visible. Almost even more so visible, especially among infantry, especially the horses, because they sit a lot higher. And they're even going to stand out among the tanks, because they're just a different size altogether. So I need to really spend a decent amount of time with them, which I've done. So far, I've painted... They're right behind me. Hold on. 20 horses. I've painted 20 horses. Technically 22, if we include Dreer, Lord Marshal Dreer, and Lord Solar Leontis, who I have not painted to be like the Trenchborn Legion. I literally painted him like the box art and then put him on a Trenchborn Legion base because... Don't know what I was thinking then, but, I actually painted him kind of decently like the box art. But they're intimidating. They don't get easier. They get slightly easier after you do the first 5 and your strategy going forward. But I mean, it's still a commitment, And I don't want 20. I want 60. I want to at some point just run a maximum army list of. I just want to max main cavalry one day, just for the heck of it, because I think it would be funny as all heck. That's just a lot to paint because they're kind of intimidating. But, I have 5 more Death Riders that I got to do, and once I get those 5 more done, you're one step closer. So it might be good to do some streams where we just tackle the heck out of those. That might be a fun painting marathon stream, because you would just be witnessing a man die when he's painting leather, even though it's only for a couple hours, maybe. Also, I don't think I could batch paint any more than 5 Rough Riders. It would be too stressful. It would break me, which would make for great content, which means I'm definitely going to batch paint 10 Rough Riders at some point for the views because, selling your soul for the views and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Got to do the standard YouTube stuff. Although, probably still early for that. I can do that later. Make the money. Eventually have my good guy arc or whatever. And then go back to doing whatever the heck there. But it's all a little complicated, so I'm not going to think too long and hard about that whole thing. Also, maybe a little too self-aware to be considered normal. Now I'm not going to, there's going to be some spots where it's like, I can't reach this, so I'm not going to. Because when these guys are sitting there, do you notice the spot I miss? No. Let me answer for you, if I may be so bold as to answer on your behalf, dear viewer. Now, there we go. Get that guy in there. Also, applying... Oh, dude, I just gotta say, I love brown. I love the brown on the white. Because it's a perfect withered look. It's been something have been missing. And even in my video on painting Plague Marine, someone was talking about how the green... I think they were referring to the shoulder pauldrons. They were like, highlight that. And I'm like, haha, no. But just as far as the green goes, it was just a little like, huh. I think the brown is a very nice color because there is a decent amount of vibrant stuff happening on the models themselves. So a dark brown is kind of nice to have, in my opinion. I also might highlight the pauldrons one day, but I mean, maybe. I think I might highlight them on Mortarion, and then if I like how they turned out on Mortarion, then I'll go, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this now, and I'll just commit there. Everywhere you go, there you are. Let me clean my brush. It's been going way too long. Also, yeah, a lot of my corpses are 3D printed that I have for the Mortarion base, which traditionally, I feel like, here's as far as I go with it. Because I want what I do, like some average hobbyists can do. I know a lot of people don't have 3D printers. I got one due to unique circumstances, is kind of what happened, unironically. And then that turned into a Warlord Titan. But I think it's fair if I just generally do... I'm going to paint official models, official plastic kits that anyone can buy, But I think for basing, I think that's okay to get a little creative with as far as corpses and stuff. Because that's just kind of how I can level up my basing even more. It's just 3D printing stuff. Although I do use, most of the stowage I've only printed corpses so far. Like this guy. But I also just use half of the tons of bits I've collected over the years for like stowage and random crates and stuff like that. Or I scratch build my own. I like 3D printing. 3D printing's fun. And all, but I do like just building with plastic. There's something about it. Because like this guy, even though I'm following instructions, there's subtle differences I did that I consciously made that makes it feel like, ooh, that's fun, and this feels uniquely mine. Even though I've built them basically stock, I just swapped a faceplate, which I'm sure tons of other people have done. He feels unique to me, and especially the base. That's what's really going to sell it. And I think having a mountain of dead bodies will be very very cool in a grimdark and grotesque way. Because also blood effects on white armor is a bit of a vibe, if I may say so myself. I enjoy it much. Whatever that says about me, oh well. And just like that, you can already see the amount of control we have regained just by giving our brush an occasional clean after it dries out. I'm not the best at brush care. I'm learning. It looks so good. Agreed, dude. It is. Yeah, they kind of cooked with his sculpt, not gonna lie. It's intimidating. It's intimidating a little bit just because of the amount of details, but if you've painted... I feel like if you've painted Death Guard before, and you have some... and you have a general idea of what you're going to do, especially the blood spatter, I think that'll be fun. I think what I'll do because the box art has this cloak. It fades into gas. It turns into like a gas. I'm almost wondering, do I have it fade into gas, or I just have it all continue to be a cloak, but then just blood stain the crap out of it? I don't know. I'm gonna see what happens when I get there. There's a lot of different options, a lot of stuff going on. But if you've painted Death Guard details before, I think Mortarian's more than easy enough to do. Because he doesn't really have anything new, aside from that cloak that fades into gas, if you even want to do that. Yeah, I think that's the only thing he has. That and his wings. I don't know of anyone else that has wings quite like that you would find in like a standard army. I don't know if the drones have that. I haven't looked too deep into their vehicles just yet. But, you know, it's different from what I've painted, at least, with the Plague Marines I've painted. I've painted like 7 Plague Marines and Typhus. That's all I got from Death Guard right now. And now, currently, we're in the midst of painting these Blightlord Terminators, I believe. You've been thinking about doing it with your Khorne dudes? Ah, fair enough. Yeah, that might be fun. That might be a cool thing to go about doing, I would argue. And there's that guy. Yeah, I think what I also have to... I like the Death Guard. I listened to a lore video on them a while ago when I was painting Typhus. And I hated Typhus as I was painting him because he's kind of the guy that kind of backstabbed everyone because he hid his psychic powers from Mortarion and then eventually made the deal with Nurgle, and then Mortarian's like, bro. And then Mortarion, being a goat and very, very caring for his men, he's like, hey, dude, just, yo, demon dude, take me so we don't have to feel the pain. He was taking one for the boys. It was a tough decision he came to, you know? So I can actually sympathize with Mortarion. I'm still pro Astra Militarum because the Imperium are the good guys. There's my controversial take that we can clip and put out of context. But I do understand where Mortarion is coming from. I understand it. For sure. And he's cool. His story was very neat. Just how he was raised and stuff. And he's like, real man of the people. It's also just nuts. I just got to sometimes just gaze at him. Because, I mean, there's so much happening here. And he's just gray. Yet I could stare at him for hours just with how much is happening. He's a real, he's a real angel of death. I like the wings. That's what makes him good, bad guy. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's my thought process. There was, you know, I was there when there was, like, debates and stuff, and it was like, oh, the Imperium are the good guys, and it was like, no, they're not, and blah, 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 and I'm like, huh? They're understandable and often relatable. That's why I like them. That's why I chose the Astra Militarum. You don't get any more bare-bones man and rifle than the faction dedicated to men and rifles. It's like, that's the human spirit, forever enduring, even, you didn't think you were streaming? Neither did I, dude. I was kind of just talking to myself, and then I saw a chat appear, and I kind of continued on from there. Count my day. Count my days. DayZ. It's on sale on Steam, I believe. I don't know. But yeah. Let's see. I think this guy's good. Your back had to pull your tractor in. Got it. You a heavy equipment operator? Now that's a job. You know, fun stuff. I watch a lot of Gold Rush. Lot of Gold Rush, dude. I watched Gold Rush since the first season when I was a wee laddie. When I would watch it with my father, and it's like, my God, and now Tony Beats is like 17 years old, and now Parker's a freaking like millennial, whatever the heck he is now, right? That was always fun. Gold Rush. So I love heavy equipment. Tractors, close enough. What is the best way to paint horses? You have a couple 1,000 hours in DayZ if anyone wants to play. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. What is the best way to paint horses? That's an interesting question. I haven't come to it's just for mowing my lawn. What I wouldn't give to drive a tractor to mow a lawn, dude, for real. I have a hand push mower that I use, and I just, you know, it auto powers forward when I press the handle, and I go, but I mean, I would much rather drive because I could feel cool. I could feel neat. But yes, you are a heavy equipment operator. Sick. Sick as all heck. That's a fun job, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm not one, but from the outside, it looks sick as all heck, dude. But the best way to paint horses depends on what kind of horse. You have a picture of the horse on Discord. Ah, perfect. Perfect. Let me take a look here. Where probably in painting discussions. Jeez! First off, let me say, damn, that's beautiful. My gosh. Oh my god, I love that color scheme, dude. It's crazy, bro. It is crazy. Oh, I love it so much. Look at that. Look at those highlights on that cloth. My god, dude. Actually peak. Sorry. That's awesome. But yeah, the steps you're doing is basically how I would paint one. Traditionally. What I do is I start off with... My cursor is way too small. Hopefully you can see it good enough. What I do is I usually start off with the base cloth here, which is what I do. You painted yours in red. I paint mine in English uniform. And I'll do the highlights. I'll usually paint it, and then I'll give it a wash of some speed paint, and then I'll just quickly dry brush to establish some highlights real quick. And also the scratchiness of the dry brushing gives a nice texture. And then what I do next is I paint these bags next. So this little cloth here, and then there's another one behind it. I paint both of those green, and this is just me personally. This is the order. Colors can vary, but I paint these next, and I paint them green. And then after I paint those, I then paint all of the leather. So all of the little buckles here. Oh my gosh, we can zoom it even more. So I paint all the pouches here, all the little buckles, all the leather bits all over the horse, on the little tail there. I do all of that third. So to recap, I paint the cloth everywhere, because my cloth is also usually the same, at least for these guys. Then I paint these like rolled up blankets second. And then I paint the leather. And then after I paint the leather, I usually go and paint the armor. And then everything else can kind of be done separately. Then I can start doing the metal. The mask, I generally have, I paint leather as well. I also paint that leather, and then I paint the armored part the same color here. That's just what I do personally. But yeah, then leather next. And then after the leather is done, there can be other extraneous details. Doesn't really matter what you do from there on out. I kind of float from detail to detail. Maybe do the handle of this guy for all I care. Do metallic, and then what I do kind of towards the end, and I also paint these guys leather as well. Everything leather. I keep all of this stuff leather. I do it all leather. But what I do at like the very end is actually paint the horse itself. Just because that way, painting the golden non-metallic metal, that would look good. And based on what I'm seeing here, as far as your highlights, I think you could pull it off beautifully. But back to the horse real quick. I paint this guy last because that way when it comes to leather, I can just blotch the leather around and not care about hitting the horse's leg or the horse's butt. That way I can just do all the leather quickly, because I do a lot of texturing. Just how I do my leather. I base coat it, and then I stipple on textures, and then I do a very tiny dry brush. Very fine to do on small details like this. Again, average size human, average size horse. Someone say, yeah, Leaf has been summoned. And then I just paint it afterwards, because it's easy enough to hit the big spots. And I generally don't do a whole bunch of stuff. I just base coat the horse one color, and then maybe do a wash if I'm feeling frisky, and then maybe do spots if I'm feeling especially frisky, or maybe I'll paint it bright pink. Because I put up a poll one day, how should I paint the horse? Black, brown, white, or Pinkie Pie from fucking My Little Pony? And for a second there, the poll was in the lead with Pinkie Pie, and so part of the horse for a little bit was pink, like Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony. So I was about to become an actual brony there for a second, an open brony. I lived on My Little Pony as a child, but that's some deep lore I'm not going to ever discuss, ever publicly. Thankfully, the poll turned into white, and so then I painted it white, but there is still pink paint on the pony, or on the horse. We almost had Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony in the actual frickin' in the Trenchborn Legion, which might have been a tragedy, might have been awesome. The Trenchborn Legion is kind of a hodgepodge of everything and anything I find interesting, which is fun. The main thing being death and war. World War I, which is why, it's the military and there's a lot of gore and stuff because, maybe a bit of a sociopath. I don't know. And then we got Fire Emblem Three Houses, very big on that. Very fun game, my favorite game there. Battlefield 1, the World War I aesthetic comes back in. Then we have I've snuck in some Uma Musume Pretty Derby because that's my latest and greatest addiction. I already spent almost $1,000 on the game and merchandise. But almost had My Little Pony, which I did love as a kid. Me and my brother and our two friends who we lived with, who were also brothers. So 4 boys, we would all pretend to be the ponies. And I'm admitting this on stream. And if they ever see the stream, I'm going to hope they don't usually watch the stream. If they do, womp womp. But fun fact, we would all pretend to be My Little Pony. And again, we're 5 years old. We're 5 years old. So this isn't me as a 19-year-old pretending to be Pinkie Pie. But as a kid, I was always Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie was the best. And I think, who did I pretend to be? Pinkie Pie, because I was such a positive little butterfly, dude. Because I was such an outgoing spirit, dude. For real. You're calling Applejack? Nope. I was Pinkie Pie. We had 2, what's her name? Oh my God. Rainbow Dash. The second oldest, the oldest brother, the friends we hung out with was Rainbow Dash, because he said he was a boy. I still don't know if Rainbow Dash is a boy or a girl. I don't remember. And then my little brother and then his little brother would pretend to be Fluttershy. We had 2 Fluttershies. We had 2 Fluttershies in the chat in the game. So I don't know what the hell they were on about, but we had Rainbow Dash as a girl. That frickin' son of a bitch. That son of a bitch. He got one up on me as a kid. Thankfully, we have a local MLP. That's crazy work. It is crazy work. I think. Did I include? I don't know if I included a snippet of My Little Pony in one of my previous videos, because I think Pinkie Pie was part of the video I did when I painted my Rough Riders. Doesn't matter. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be talking about this. First off, God, I love this color scheme. Oh my God, red and gold. It's so good. It's so good, dude. But yeah, you're gold. You're good as gold. Pun intended. Pun intended. But that is crazy. I can't believe he said that Rainbow Dash was a boy. That's crazy work, dude. He was gender bending before that was even popular, bro. He was ahead of his time. Or yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's base code some shit. Let's see. I can't reach back there. Not gonna worry about that. Kind of reached everything else fine. You love Rainbow Dash. She's literally me. Fair enough. It's for a Vestroyan Firstborn army. Dude, it's just so good, bro. It's so good. And my God, I love a red cloak that goes dark to brighter red. It's so peak, dude. And I won't shut up about it, dude. No, she's me. Sure, whatever. What, you can argue all you want. Ooh, here's a question. This is actually a great question. I see this a whole lot. And so I want to ask you guys. This is a genuine question I have. I'm genuinely asking. I'm genuinely going to ask you this genuine question. That was my impersonation of Gideon's apology video. Do you guys base before you paint or after you paint? Like, do you stick it onto the base and then base it after you paint it? Or do you base it and then paint the base after you paint this guy? Like, because what I do is I base them. I base them and then I actually paint the bases afterwards. But you actually... So do you go in with dirt? That is the webcam. Look away from me, pal. Do you actually... Depends on the mini. Yeah, fair. But yeah, do you actually... Will you put dirt on and stuff after? Because the other thing I'll do sometimes... And this is what I did for all my Plague Marines, is these guys I built before discovering. or before kind of figuring out what I did, I would build the base, build these guys, kind of dry fit them on, make sure they fit, and then I would paint them separately, but the base would be fully dirted and assembled, and then I would glue them together. I've never done anything before where, again, my webcam is right there. I have buttons for this. I just spent 5 hours reconstructing this. Sorry. I've never painted and then do dirt on afterwards. I've never done that. That is a very interesting concept to me. It's very foreign to me. Very interesting. Depends on the paint job I'm doing. Yeah, depends. Fair, that makes sense. The Ewok that I painted was mostly finger painted. Everything on the base and then went back with a brush. Ah, fair enough. Leaf, what deal with whatever have you made? And it is still available. What's still available? What happened? I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, I'll get back to... See, what's awesome is now it's time to start highlighting some guys. And this has gotten me all fired up to begin some highlighting work because, yeah. Mihaly Oswald. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering the name. I won't try to fix it. Because I'm too deep into my heavy accent, which is no accent. But this looks insane, dude. This is already looking incredible. Love it so much. Great stuff. Now I'm excited to start painting up my cloaks. I'm excited to start doing some work there. I'm a little pumped up to actually like paint, rather than just painting to get it done. To actually paint to look good. I know for my Death Guard I do it after painting, as I can just say any texture paint that gets on the mini is just some more grime. Fair. Sherlock, I'm begging. Ping next time. I know I didn't ping. I didn't feel like it. It was kind of funny. Let's see. Yeah, I know what I do when I usually base is I will, at least for these guys, because how I do my dirt is I put dirt texture and then I prime them gray, or in this case white, just because of how I airbrush, and then I take a watered down brown and apply that all over the base, and the wash it kind of leaves a nice mud texture that I like, that kind of reminds me of like the 2011 movie Passchendaele, or no, I think the movie was 2008. I don't know if you posted the Ewok, man. Please rectify that. I want to see him, because I saw you do a work in progress of him. But then as I'm applying the paint, I'll just specifically splash it onto the feet to get that kind of look. But usually I'll paint them separately just so I can have ease of access when grabbing these guys to painting them, because I do actually have painting handles that I usually put them on that I could probably use here. I just have already magnetized the bases, and I don't want to get any more of the... oh my god, what are you called? I'll remember. Baking soda on my blue tack and waste it, because I have the same amount of blue tack I've had for several years now, because I'm a crazy hoarder who tries to keep it clean instead of just using it, throwing it away, and, moving on with my life. You did? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guess where we're going. Ooh, also we got, sorry. We're going to find it. Where is it? Where is he? I'm going to find him. Hold on, I'm going to find him. Where is this? Where's this dude? Is he in Model Showcase? That's a dog. Oh, there he is. Found him. I'm showing him off. I don't care. My god. Look at this dude. That's so sick, bro. Wow. Look at the color transitions, dude. Are those leaves? Is that a leaf painted... Is that a leaf paint mini? Is that the name of the Instagram page? This is crazy. Love how the leaves turned out. Sorry, I know you painted an actual figure, but I love the vibrant leaves. I'm going to rant about that. I'll shut up now. Look at that Ewok. Oh my god, he's got the little bomb. Oh, that's incredible. That's so sick. Also, the way you do your bases, or the way you frame them in, the way you frame these guys. Oh, it's so good, dude. It's so good. It's incredible. Look at the stormtroopers as well. My god. Why doesn't Xbox work? Because Xbox is not Nintendo. Actually, no, I am an Xbox over... No, I'm a Nintendo... I'm going to punch myself in the face with the Ewok and get myself out of the console debate real quick. Nintendo Switch all the way. Fight me. Is that an actual stick? Is that an actual twig from the yard that you utilized and that you expertly made into a tree, dude? Because that don't look 3D printed. That looks real. That looks very real. I want to try that one day so bad. Take some actual twigs. I've used bark for rocks, but I want to use a twig for a tree, dude. Is this a twig for a tree? Please tell me. It's very cool. Also, I'm practicing my tracing. I'm using OBS to trace alongside the twig. We have some talent in the Discord server, dude. I get pumped watching this, seeing stuff like this, dude. It is sick as all heck, dog. It's peak. Oh, that's my own GIF. Wow, what a... Look in the Discord at the star of Xbox. The star of Xbox? And the what? What am I looking at? Xbox status, account and profile, store and subscriptions, games and gaming, apps and mobile. At least, it was a root from your pond baked in the oven at 200 degrees for 15 minutes to kill parasites. So you gotta do like some crazy... So not only is my guy here not only is our boy Leaf Paints Minis not only is he a painter, he's a frickin' baker and a heavy equipment operator and a professional costume designer. Jesus Christ. Like I said, the talent, it's a little nuts. It's a little frickin' crazy. Also, yeah, your Xbox status doesn't look he's literally in the kitchen. Dude was literally cooking. He's literally cooking. It's crazy. It's crazy work. Yeah, let me look real closely. Account and profile, store and subscriptions. None of that stuff really matters. As long as you have friends and social activity, as long as you're safe online and you have family. That's not accurate. Sharing and broadcasting. I am a baker. British baking show for the win. I was more so thinking of the of the Cat in the Hat baking scene, but you know, that's impossible. And you're ugly, just like your mom. I'll get you, and it'll look like a bloody accident. I don't do the accent. I don't do accents. I'm gonna shut the hell up and paint because I'm pumped to paint, dude. The talent is overflowing in the Discord server, and so now it's time for me to throw my hat into the ring to see if I can't join the chefs. To see if I can't join the master chefs cooking up Michelin star meals in the kitchen. Bro. My God. Now, what paint should I use for... Oh, I remember now. Wow. Don't mind me. I'm not forgetting how to paint. No. No. Missed. You am 4 years forklift certified operator at a store called Menards during high school. Wow. Oh, a little update on our German friends campaign across... Oh, right. See, Nisty's gone. He's adventuring off. He's discovering himself or something. I don't remember. I just heard he was leaving, and so I made a whole story for him. He's doing a coming-of-age event. That's what I say, anyways. During high school, he was forklift certified. My guy's a go-getter. Son of a... My lord. And he's forklift certified. You know, I was working up at the gun range. We were installing some Hescos, and we had a guy operating a skid steer. He knew what he was doing, okay? But on the back of his Jeep truck, no, it wasn't a Jeep truck, stock Jeep. It just said YouTube. I think it just said like it wasn't forklift certified. I think it was YouTube certified forklifter, or something like that. It was YouTube certified, which is actually you know, that about sums up the shenanigans he was up to up there. There was there was some stuff happening. He got the skid steer. Me and my brother worked with shovels, and we were manually shoveling stuff while he got the skid steer. And you know, we're kind of you know, we're doing Hescos on a gun range. The whole pistol range is closed, but you know, on the rifle range, there's people shooting, and you know, it gets to a point where I'm looking and I'm like, well, if someone were to, you know, send a round off technically downrange but not be into the berm, I'm kind of susceptible to injury here. And so I asked him, I said, hey, is this fine? And he said, you know, I might just be jaded from standing in front of a bunch of rifle muzzles, but I think you'll be okay. And I went, cool. And it's crazy because I've grown up and I am now just like him. I do not give an absolute rat's ass. But there's my coming of age story. There's my dying of age story. My dying of young age story. You should paint some Catachan jungle fighters. That might be fun. I've painted proxies. I actually have one literally on hand. That is the most convenient. There's my Catachan jungle fighters. It's a Russian guy doing with a Nagant revolver. But he does have a sci-fi, does have a sci-fi thingy. My headcanon is, because las pistols are obviously a lot bigger. So my headcanon is like these are like little improvised weapons that people make in their spare time just for the sake of, like, I don't know, for killing rats, for killing trench rats. Ooh, that makes sense. So it's like he's running and he's like, some of these rats have, crazy amalgamations on them because they're Nurgle rats. So I'll use this. So, there's my headcanon. Can we get an even closer look at his revolver? At his Nagant revolver? I'm not going to say Nagant revolver 10 times as fast as I can, which I think is a smart move. But that's just me personally, and I won't elaborate. That'll be a those who know type moment. Ooh, Battlefield moment. Should I paint a mini in the style of a Battlefield cover art? The War Games Atlantic Space Now models. Ooh, that would be cool. Forklift might be a good idea. Perhaps it's a good idea. A Battlefield, you'll do it. I know you'll do it, and I'll do it, just not on stream. But let me, in the style of Battlefield 1, I have that pulled up right here. I mean, that would be I love Battlefield 1's cold blue gray, and then the fiery warm tones that it has sometimes, and I just love how I just love it. Battlefield 1's just perfect. What can I say, dude? What can I say? It's just good. I'm gonna actually start highlighting now. I should stop postponing this. Let's jump right into it, and we do a little bit of highlighting, bro, and we just absolutely go for it like nobody's business. Because we're that good. We're able to do it. Now there is that, and we're doing the big rough highlights. I do it very fast, very quickly, because that's part of the fun. Genuinely my favorite war sim. Agreed. I tried playing it on stream once, except I sucked so terribly. It was outrageous. Although I've gotten really good at being a pilot. And, I've started to rage bait people in the server I play. I play on Bud's Exiles, and I play their hardcore server. And I was playing, and I was getting a ton of kills. Some could consider it spawn killing, but I don't know how you spawn kill a plane. Like, hey, talk to your team. Say, hey, we got a plane that's knocking us down. We have a plane that's good at his job. Because, by the way, at the beginning of the round, their air superiority was top-notch. They were bombing us. They had us backed into our own deployment zone. It wasn't until I came along and I kept shooting their bombers down that we actually started to push forward. All me. I'm going to take the credit for it. It was me and probably one other plane, but I was getting all the plane kills, okay? And then a mod on the other team who kept getting the bomber kills, he was mad that he wasn't getting his easy farms. He's like, no spawn camping. And also, after every time I would kill him, I would just say Mambo in the chat. I would Mambo, and then I would get his ass, right? And then, oh my goodness, I kill him again, and he's like, stop doing that. And I said, sure thing, boss. And you know what I did? I let him spawn in, and then I just drove around him, got right behind him. I sent rockets, and then after I sent the rockets, I sent a machine gun, instantly got him, and you know what I said? Mambo, except I said it in all caps, because screw that guy, dude. Screw him power tripping. Mambo. It's with an A. It's Mambo. It's Mam. Mam with an A. We gotta respect Mambo. Close enough. And you might be thinking, wow, you really care way too much about how Mambo is said. Maybe just a little. I'll take that on the chin. Don't hit the camera, you dumb fool. There you go. But I successfully rage baited someone, and I'm successfully rage baiting people as a pilot. I'm turning into a bit of a pilot, which is fun. But it's mostly because of my mouse. I have a new gaming mouse, or it's a semi-new gaming mouse that I have. It has 12 buttons, 12 thumb buttons on the side. So we take a mouse like this. It's just this, except 15 times bigger, and it has 12 buttons on the side here. So I use the 1 button to increase sensitivity, and I have a 2 button to decrease it. So that way, if I'm sniping, if I'm doing close range sniping, because I'm a frontline scout player, because I actually help people out. I don't just, hide. It's a rat. A Mambo's a type of rat. I'm thinking of, you should do an event where a whole bunch of people are playing together, but when they die, they have to leave permanent death type shit. Stretch, you scare me, bud. You scare me just a little bit. Just a hair. Just a hair. And you might be wondering, okay, what the hell, why, how? But yeah, one of my ideas before I even know the mouse. No, of course it's the mouse. I knew that. I was joking. No, I'm not. No, me think you were referring to a Mambo as an actual type of rat? No, I would never, dude. I would never. No, of course not. I'm better than that. No. No way, dude. Anyways, moving on. No, Stretch. Before I even had the idea of being before I even committed to the YouTube content thing, I'm like, dude, it would be so cool to be a YouTuber, but to have a community that all has Battlefield 1 and then we do a permanent death thing. I had the same idea as you, is what I'm saying. And the fact that you spelled it out just like that is actually wild, because that's a genuine thought I had. You have like 2 confirmed leaders on the team, and it's like, hey guys, we're gonna do some. We got to, you got to secure everything, but not die. Which I think would be the coolest thing ever. I think that would be sick as all heck. It would be very pog. We're getting some rough highlights done here. Why do I smell Dr. Pepper? I did have a Dr. Pepper earlier today. It wasn't carbonated, which leads me to think somebody somehow went into it and put in some cyanide. However, I'm still here, so I think I'm just immune to cyanide. That's my inner Rasputin coming out. If you know, you know. Rasputin is such a crazy individual, dude. I'm going to rant about him for just a second. But yeah, his mom literally microdosed cyanide to him, so he was immune to cyanide. Like, eventually, Russian high officers invited him over for dinner because they're like, this dude's manipulating the heck out of our Tsar, bro. And they poisoned him, and he drank it, and he drank the wine, and then he's like, thanks for the wine, bro. And everyone's looking, they're like, what? What? They said, sorry, repeat? And because everyone was there, and they're like, okay, that's interesting. Dude also kind of, either he called dibs or he did have some freaking demonic powers or holy powers. I don't know what he had, but you know, back in the day, it's the Tsar, it's the royal families. Everyone's all inbred. I think everyone still is to some extent. But as far as the royalty side, not average Joes like me, everyone else. But their daughter was dying, had a disease. No one knew about the disease, but they found a bunch of doctors. The Tsarina, I believe that's what the queen, essentially. I don't care too much. I haven't delved too far into it, but she's like, I've consulted healers and doctors, nothing's worked. And then she wrote Rasputin and said, yo, man, my kid's dying. I'm trying to remember. It might have been the son, not the daughter. But it was like, he was Christian. I know that was the crazy thing. But she was like, yo, we need is there anything you can do? He wrote and the kid had some ailment. This isn't something that just cures overnight. Okay, essentially. I haven't read the story in a good while. But Rasputin wrote back and he said, ma'am, your faith has healed him. He'll be fine. And then like a couple days later, the kid was fine and like not on death's door anymore, which is either like, cue the LeBron thumbnail, 1% chance he's about to dunk it in the hoop. But he either made the shot or there was actually something happening there. Either way, it's a little spooky, not gonna lie. That whole story spooks the absolute heck out of me, dude. It is crazy. And the Rasputin song is a bit of a bop. Not gonna lie. It's a good one. It's a good one. Now I'm going to move a little. I'm kind of going a little wider with this brown because I want this brown to show a little more than what it is showing previously. And I think this is a fine place to do that. We're just getting, kind of building it up too, so it's nice and solid. He was Christian. I read that already. I'm retarded. Oh shit, I said the R word. Well, oh well. Let's do this. This will be fun. Because there's some interesting curves happening here. Now let's try that. What do we get here? Okay. You know, we're getting something, dude. I'm enjoying this though. The thing is, what stopped me from painting these cloaks so many times, and trying actual highlights is because I would either go way too slow and like try to overthink everything and eventually just like burn myself out, or I would literally take 3 paints like a triad and then just do 1, 2, 3, and then call it a day and then not give it any more thought. But what we're kind of finding here is a bit of a flow state, not gonna lie. We're going at a decent pace, but we're also giving it time it deserves, which is kind of awesome. I've definitely unlocked a new spectrum as far as this whole painting shenanigan goes, and I'm excited. It's very cool. And now we can just build up some colors here, because I do love painting. Painting is fun. Painting is a very fun part. The gaming part's cool as well, but you know, I have a fondness for the painting. Good memories. Good memories, because I was painting my first Warhammer kit. I had an old radio on, and it was raining outside. So you have the pitter-patter of the rain. I had my window open, so it was all just freaking calm and peaceful, and I think it was like around Christmas time. And it was a very, very nice experience, and so painting has just always been a very cool thing to partake in. Always grateful every day I'm able to do it. And to get better at it is even more fun, because then it gets even more fulfilling and sick as far as painting goes. That's the other thing. I think I might slowly be transitioning from what I originally was. I was a quantity over quality guy, but I can feel it. I'm slowly turning into a quality guy who's actually taken wants to take the time to ensure the minis are of higher quality than just having them painted, which is fun, because I enjoy it. It's a fun thing to partake in. But you also got to put the effort in. That's the other thing. And I've been afraid to put the effort in for a good while, but not too much anymore. Let's see. That's an interesting spot there. Oh my gosh, I forgot. We also have the front sides of some of these guys. Don't have to worry too much about them, I don't think. I'll just get like on the center there and maybe just fray out some edges here. Kind of just gonna edge highlight. The Titan changed them. A lot changed, and yeah, I think the Titan might have... Well, yeah, the Titan was the ultimate... That was the ultimate project to date. Haven't done anything to top that yet. But yeah, that took a lot of time, because the other thing is I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend a ton of time printing, building this thing, and doing whatever, so kind of want to make it, you know, worth it in the end. But yeah, now we're in new territories, for sure, as far as this whole operation goes. But it's fun. It is fun. Because also learning techniques from people in real time, like Mr. Leaf, who graced us with his presence today. I mean, this is why I'm doing the cloaks, is because of some stuff he suggested, and it was so incredibly based that I was like, oh, dang, yeah, of course. Let's freaking give it a whirl, dude. And so we did. I think that might be better for edge highlighting rather than me just splotching it around, unless I go for a more traditional leather, my usual leather situation, or I just go fast. You know what? I'm going to go fast on these guys and actually just see what I can't get just by doing some quick painting. Because the other thing I don't want to do is wait too long on some details and then just eventually slow down everything again. But to float from one color to another, try to keep a level head as far as the painting goes, but keep it nice and fun and just rolling into the next thing slowly but surely. I think that's a cool way to go about the whole situation, and it keeps it fun for me, and I enjoy doing it. Now I'll hit some edges here, because this will make especially bright in some spots as well. There we go, there we go. That looks decent. Decent enough, pal. Now I should probably hit the rest of this guy. We really only have, oh my god, 7 minutes left. We'll see what I can't get done in 7 minutes. We'll give it an honest whirl. Oh, I might actually not be back tomorrow, because I said there might not be a stream because I was on standby on call to do something. That got postponed until tomorrow. So now tomorrow I might be... I think tomorrow is when I'll disappear and miss a stream. Although I'm going to try to make it. We'll see how early we get it done. Because if we get it done early enough, I can come back and paint. Because I'm enjoying the cloaks. Painting the cloaks is pog. We're getting practice in. And I'll have already discussed Mortarion for 30 minutes, so I won't need to do it again. Which I think is fair. Now, let's see. Yeah, we kind of got to just stick to edge highlights here. There's no, like, defined waves over here, you know? So I'll just do something quick and easy like that. There we go. Now maybe hit the edge of this cloak here. There we go. Nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Now I can start to blend that in. And to blend that in, I just simply mixed... Let me showcase it real quick. I mixed a little bit of the black-brown that we used for the base color, and then I mixed a little bit of the English uniform that we used for the mid-color. Here's the black-brown. Here's the English uniform. I'm just going to take a scoop of this bad boy. Set him there. There's a bit of a skin that's formed there, so I'll take that guy off. And then I'll take a scoop of our highlight color, and then I'll mix them together, and that will give us our blending color. And that's how you mix paints. You know, they call me Sherlock Bob Ross Spiner for a reason, you know? It's an interesting nickname they gave me. Who's they? The voices in my head. Lamau. And now I think we got... Okay, we need a little more water. Because now we're going to do everything a little thin. Going to thin it all down just a hair. Really begin some wacky stuff, if you would. So let us begin that. So let's see how this is gonna look. And I'm just kind of like sketching it quickly over and just kind of blending everything in nice and neat. I'm here, albeit very slow. Yeah, you're looking a little cryptid there, buddy. Did freaking Slenderman get you? My God, because yeah, the text is a little distorted, my friend. I don't know if that really registers on your side of the pond, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, it's a little different. It's a little different than what I'm used to, good sir. Right now, I'm just doing a little blending before I freaking skedaddle. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I would be such a bad, liar. I'm lying to the police, and then I remember a key part of the crime I just committed, and then I go, oh, and they'd go, what? And I'd be like, dude, I just remembered where I hid the body, bro. And then they just look at me and they go, and I go, my bad, gang, you didn't hear that. And they go, dude, this is not your head, this is real life, so, you know, this is going to play out differently. And I'd say, you right. And then I would say, how do you know I'm talking to myself in my head? And they'd say, because you're literally speaking out loud, but you're live now, so this is all recorded, and people will be able to see you rant in the future. And then I'll be like, dang, checkmate. And then I'll go in cuffs and be on my merry way. But until then, we're doing some blending here. So we'll do a little more of that. Get off of there. See, this is already... okay, I'm enjoying the amount of brown we have. Or the amount of kind of lighter color we have going on. It's fairly decent. Maybe darken this just a hair more there. Very fine, very fine. Just some fine brush strokes, really getting some fine motion established with our painting. And then, doing the occasional stippling and then just kind of moving forward slowly but steady on the whole blending front. So that looks fairly decent. I think I might want to maybe make these highlights a little on the smaller side. They might be a little too big. But that was kind of part of the point, so that way I can actually take time to kind of blend them all in and really work on the blending job of the entire operation. We get a hair bit of water there. There we go. There we go. Now we have like a decent amount of stuff to actually work with on as far as this entire front is concerned. There we go. There we go. There, I'm starting to enjoy the blending. This blending is it's a lot better. It's a lot better in my opinion. And then we can always reestablish some of those highlights there later. We can also just have a stroke. Either works, you know? To each their own, as they say. Work in there. And then just hit the edge of this guy. Although I'm trying to think... Okay, so that's kind of a high point. So honestly, we're going to have to blend the highlight back into there at some point. So I'll just blend all this down real quick. And that's looking decent. I'm like a minute or two behind. Kind of sad. You know what? You arrive on time every time. That's the motto here, good sir. You are A-okay, my friend. Well, there's part of the cloak done. There's some more stuff to do. More cloak to work on. But I mean, for now, I've done a lot of yapping. I'm excited about Mortarion. I've been working on him all day, but it's actually I got to skedaddle now, ladies and gentlemen. I got to skedaddle, but we're painting. We're having fun painting. We're learning painting. We're looking at other people's paint jobs. It's all looking incredible. Some of the stuff and the paint schemes you guys are coming up with. Oh my God, it's so beautiful, dude. Hold on. Let me just real quickly showcase one more time. Love this. What do I get when I hit 100 streams in a row? I don't know. What do I get? I mean, look at that. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then in the, let's see, in the model showcase, we have Leaf Paints Minis on Instagram doing crazy stuff like this Ewok. He's also recently done, what else did he do? Oh yeah, he did this. Huh? Now, this is some soccer player. I don't know what. I don't know soccer at all. But we got a dude and a net. Dude. He made this, okay? This is a crazy... I mean, oh yeah. Holland. That's sweet. I mean, look at the water. We have some talented people in the Discord. But yeah, he's Leaf Paints Minis on Instagram, if anyone's curious. Just because, my God. My God. It is so good, dude. So good. Look at that power kick, the ball lightning. The lightning is what's crazy. I'm like, oh, dude, that's sick. I gotta try lightning one day. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you when I see you. Not just Leaf. Fair enough. Yeah, just Leaf on the Discord, but Leaf Paints Minis on Instagram, I believe. But yeah, I'm gonna skedaddle. Hopefully, I'm here tomorrow. I don't know. I might be recruited into the army by then and just shipped off into frickin' Hibiscus or whatever that country's called. New York. But yeah, okay. You all be good now. I'm going to. This is my first time streaming on the new setup, so I gotta refine the button. You feel that? Don't know what you're feeling. And I will skedaddle. Wait. I've been live for... Oh, I haven't been live for a full 2 hours? Oh. You're getting deployed? RIP. Hold on. I'm gonna run the timer for 2 more minutes before I leave, just so I can get that nice crisp hour. I know I was 3 minutes late. Hold on. I'm gonna run it out. I'm gonna run it out. Where are you getting deployed to? Are you going to Taiwan? Taiwanese land? Who is saying peak? Okay, no, we're good. No, I'm running the clock because I need to see a crisp 2-hour mark on there. Until then, Bandcamp? Bro's going to die for Israel. Nope. Not me. Is Boxberry dying for Israel? Bandcamp. Is that Texas slang for Israel? because of all the boom, 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 boom happening there. Was that insensitive? Probably. Do I care? Not really. Is that my 2-minute timer up? 1 more minute. 1 more minute. I gotta now sit with what I've just said. And I have to sit with that for a full minute. Boop, boop, ba-doo, ba-doo. You know. So, blue eye stare. How people with blue eyes look at you. I hope that was good. I hope the light perfectly picked that up, so that was good. 30 more seconds. What a long 30 seconds to sit here. I gotta, but and the viewership has peaked. The viewership has peaked as I now just stall the stream for 20 more seconds before I leave. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you. How are you doing? And